Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. The comic book movie journey through film continues. I am Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. Today is Superman 1978, released December 15th, 1978, with a story and screenplay by Mario Puzo, directed by Richard Donner. And I don't know if Mario Puzo sounded familiar to you, as he wrote The Godfather.
Yeah, I've heard the name. Mario Puzo. Is that like a... No, I don't know. I don't know why. I feel like I've heard it outside of The Godfather for some reason. But,
well, there was a planet in Obi-Wan Kenobi that I referred to on multiple occasions as Mario Puzo because it sounded like Puzo.
Is that what I'm thinking of? Maybe that is what I'm thinking of.
Almost certainly.
Wow. Okay.
I can't remember what the planet was called, but I remember making fun of it because it sounded like it so much. Marpuzo. I think it was called Marpuzo.
That's pretty close. Maybe, oh, wow, I can't believe that's what I thought of when I heard the name Mario Puzo first, not The Godfather. It was the Star Wars planet or something. I don't know. That sounds right, but that's insane.
That is hilarious.
I did not know he wrote this at all.
Yeah, wrote this. Wow. I mean, we got a couple Godfather crossovers. As Jor-El is played by the Godfather, Marlon Brando. Bringing some legitimacy to this film, if I had to guess so myself.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say when people went out to go see this in theaters, and I mean, it might initially seem childish because it's Superman, but then you hear like, oh, Marlon Brando. Gene Hackman. I don't know, was Gene Hackman like big at the time?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's already, yeah. So, I don't know, this was very different than Batman 66, that's for sure.
Was definitely it was a streak on the better side. I would say so myself, because this coming into this was already a like top 5 favorite superhero movie for me anyway. It remains there, and at the end at the end of every one of these episodes, I think we should update our ranking of our project. So for now we only have 2 movies in it. But regardless, as the project grows, we ought to rank everything.
I agree.
But just like last week, we did. I have some comic influences, some suggested, some more nailed down. Yeah. So Action Comics #1, obviously, the first appearance of our boy Clark Kent, Superman. Superman #4, a classic face-off with Lex Luthor that involves an earthquake and some missiles and stuff. I was like, that was a very clear influence. Superman #10, another face-off with Lex Luthor, and then Superman #11, as I read it, I don't recall why I put it on here. I was just kind of like, I finished it and I was like, I mean, it was very Superman, but I couldn't tell you why I put it on here as required influence on this movie.
I think it might be because in Superman 10 he flies like for the first time, but it was an accident. I didn't know, like I looked it up like during reading. I'm like, wait a minute, is this like him flying for the first time? And I look it up, and the artist just assumed that Superman could fly and not just leap, because I didn't know that. I did not know that originally he just could jump. He's just a jumper. Dude could just...
Yeah, but then in Superman #10, where they're testing his abilities, and he just keeps climbing higher and higher and higher, and you're like, oh, he's flying.
And he he flies out of a window. Like, he doesn't like jump out of it. He literally goes horizontal out of a window and then like straight up, um, like up buildings and just keeps going. And then like, and he carries people like fly, like, I don't know. It was, the artist just kind of assumed that he could fly. And then I think in 11 he continued it.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
pretty
so too.
sure
And
that he was
the
flying.
art, the art in those books is pretty. Like, I really, really liked the art in Superman 10 and 11. But, yeah, man, this was a fun one. It was one I was excited to get to because I've always told you that Superman is probably my favorite comics character to read. Maybe not so much movies to watch, but character to read. And this is, I mean, frankly, this is one of my favorite comic book movies ever. I absolutely love it. How many times do you think you've watched this? Was this a first, second viewing?
Oh yeah, the movie. This is the first time I've ever seen it.
Gotcha.
And like I'd see the first movie that I've seen on this list is X-Men.
Ooh, so we got some time.
Yeah.
We got everything from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Well, this is our only 70s flick, but
a little bit of like the older or like the newer Batmans before Christian Bale, and you know, like that older Batman, not like 66, but I've seen like it'll basically be a first watch for all of them. But up until X-Men, that's So
I love that. Yeah. So what are you thinking? How you feeling after Superman 78?
I am so much happier that we have Superman 2 and Superman 3 like right after this, because I'm not going to lie, after Batman 66, I'm like, is it going to be like this for the first like 10 or so movies, and then then the switch is made where superhero movies get more legitimate or whatever? And I'm glad that it happened second movie. Because
these are real good.
This one was, I mean, it's not even in the same ballpark as Batman.
66,
to me, like this was, I don't know, one of the most. It's in my top 10 superhero movies, I think, of all time. Like if I had, like, I really loved it. Like the story between him and Lois. Like I hope, like I'm just assuming they continue. Like it's the same Lois and Superman.
Margot Kidder, yeah, it's the same actors and actresses.
But God, like you've shown me before, like the scene like where he literally like, you know, morphs, like when he's in her apartment and it's Clark after he took her out on the Superman thing, and he like is about to tell her, and then he like kind of goes back into Clark, and like that was just so cool. Like it's not Henry Cavill just taking off a pair of sunglasses like glasses, you know, like it was like I kind of really thought. Yeah, and like I really thought of them as like separate characters. Like when he's Superman, and then like when he's Clark, he's Clark. But I mean, they sort of morph together over time. But like in the first part of the movie, like it was just very, I don't know, they were so different that I kind of thought of them as different characters.
100%, 100%. Yeah, Christopher Reeve is fucking fantastic. You know how we've developed a new part of this project where we have our new part of the podcast where we have our favorite line, favorite scene, favorite character, favorite performance, and favorite shot. I was trying my best to come to a conclusion other than Christopher Reeve for best performance, but I simply can't. Or like favorite performance. Like the dude's too fucking good as Superman, or as Clark Kent. You know, Gene Hackman's fantastic as Lex Luthor.
Anyone else even close to the level that he was in this movie? Is that what, like you're saying that he was just?
I mean, I was trying, like, and there are a few great performances in this movie. You know, I think fucking Marlon Brando as Jor-El, incredible. Even though he's only on screen for a short time, Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, bloody fucking brilliant.
Was actually funny too. Like, this like was not like 66 where it was legitimately a comedy, but like Lex Luthor was fun. I mean, I guess he had the dumb assistant. It filled more of Otis. Yeah, that was the thing. It filled more of a comedic role, but
this man can tank bullets, but this stuff
will kill him. That shit was so, yeah, I loved that. And Miss
Miss
Tessmacher!
Do you know why the number 200 so perfectly describes you and me? It's my IQ and how much you weigh, or whatever. Like, the lines that he just jabbed at him, like, you nitwit, you nincompoop, you're all the ends, or whatever.
No, not M as in moron,
Yeah.
N as in nitwit, Neanderthal.
Like, I don't know, it was... I really liked his performance, but yeah, no, if I'm focusing on a single performance, it's without a doubt Superman. Like, or Clark. I don't know, what do you call him? Do you call him Cal? Like Kal-El? Do you call him Clark?
It depends on the context, you know. Generally, I just refer to him as Superman because he's always Superman, regardless of if he's Clark Kent or if he's Kal-El, if he's Superman. I think it's always a nice, broad way to refer to Superman.
True.
But within context, you know, this movie hardly even, because like he doesn't really go by Cal ever. Because he's always on Earth with Clark and with his name being Clark. It's like more when he gets involved with like the Justice League that they start really referring to him as like Wonder Woman refers to him as Cal a lot. I remember. But yeah, man, I fucking love this movie. It's been a favorite of mine since the first time I watched it, and it's only been a few years. I watched it. I remember I watched it once when I was real young. And then I didn't watch it again for a real long time because I was like, Batman's my guy. Fuck all that. I only like Batman. And then I came to a certain age where I was like, oh, I can like multiple characters. That's okay. And Superman became a very, very quick comfort character. He's, especially Christopher Reeve's performance of him, you know, like I like that this still has those elements of, you know, what do you fight for? The truth, justice, and the American way, you know?
I don't drink when I fly.
Yeah, exactly. It still had all those elements, you know?
I always tell the truth. I never lie.
Smoking's a terrible habit. Give you lung cancer. Well, not yet.
No, I mean, I don't know. You gotta... Like, it's comic booky too. Like, there was a little like
I love that shit. That's
where like there was it was like one page or maybe one or two pages where it was like a 10-year-old boy that just like was like, I'm gonna be strong like Superman now. I'm gonna eat my veggies and eat my meals. I'm gonna work out and I'm gonna fight bullies. And then like, I don't know, it was just like, it's just kind of cute how. Like, they know kids are reading it, and legitimately they're gonna, like, maybe learn some life lessons, like, through this, because they're children and don't know, you know? Like, they legit, like, oh, like, lying is bad, okay, like, stealing is bad, you know? Like, I don't know, like, you kind of learn it through cartoons and stuff initially anyway. Like, that's how we kind of learned it, but for kids in this age, it's through comic books. So, I don't know, I kind of love that little aspect of it talking, like, to the child or like the reader directly.
I do. I love that too, and I love the way this movie opens. How it like it starts with Action Comics #1.
That was sick.
Yeah, it was like it was very clear that it was directly influenced by those early Action Comics. Like they were like, this is the kind of spirit we're trying to evoke, and that's why this movie will do really good in that adaptation rating later on.
Oh yeah,
because they just nail the spirit of Superman in this movie, along with based off the books we did read, you know. And I love that in the books we did read, it's Superman being a little bit more, and I don't want to say a little bit more because I think this kind of has maintained with Superman, where he puts on a front like he'll hurt you because he's scary. Like, he's, like, so overwhelmingly powerful. Like, yeah, I'll take you 200 feet in the air and I'll drop you if you don't tell me this shit. He's never going to drop anybody. And the Superman in the books always makes it clear. He, like, always has the little thought bubble that's like, oh, I'd never do this. But he doesn't know that. That type of shit. I absolutely love that. And I feel like Christopher Reeve Superman maintains that, you know? Like, whenever we do the bad guy montage where Superman's unveiled himself to the world, he's officially out there, and he's saving the day. You know, that guy using the suction cups to climb the building with all jewel heist, and he's just standing there. Like, yep, going somewhere?
The little lines, yeah, whenever Superman defeats, I don't know what I want to say, like, I don't know, like any enemy, he always has a line of like
a little quip.
Yeah, quip. That's a good way to put it. Like, and they did that perfectly in here too.
Bad vibrations.
All the little. Oh man, yeah, they did that perfectly here. Like that, like the adaptation was, I mean, very obvious, and I mean even the story, like earthquakes. They took it to a whole nother level here, with having California fall off and having Lex Luthor, or what do you call it? Like the whole area, like New California,
New West Coast.
Okay, yeah, but
yeah, Lex Luthor being a realist or a land magnate, just buying up all this land east of the western seaboard, so that whenever he hits the San Andreas fault line, it'll all just fall off, and now the most valuable real estate is that which he owns.
I mean, genius.
Yeah, genius.
If Superman didn't exist, and I don't know if this would actually happen. It might take more than one or two nukes, but like I think it is possible for like.
I mean, you hit the San Andreas fault line with one nuke, it feels sound. Like that feels like it.
You think? Like you think this is like a legit possible? Like that could happen. Like
I don't know about all that. But like a nuke hitting the San Andreas fault line? San Andreas fault line already be shaky as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if you hit it with a goddamn nuclear bomb, shit can't go well.
And what was the other bomb in New Jersey for?
To distract him. His speed, he couldn't possibly.
But like, did he know? Being the genius he is, you'd think he'd be like, oh, the mother of one of my two hench people lives there. Maybe I don't compromise the mission by nuking the city. Like, I don't like. He's very a genius.
It was very dumb, but I think that's just I think it's another way to kind of go. He's so egomaniacal that he's like, and I don't think this movie makes it quite as clear as like a lot of other Superman media has. Miss Tessmacher like worships Lex. So it's kind of like I think it's kind of just to be like, I can get away with this. You know what I'm saying?
I guess, yeah, literally she was like, my mother lives there, and he went,
no, she doesn't.
No, she does not any longer. Which, damn, dude was evil for evil's sake too.
Oh,
are you really
this was a fucking villain, bro. Yes. Like whenever the cop chases Otis into the hideout at the beginning, and he just slowly pushes him out onto the train platform, like, sorry, buddy. That's some dark shit.
Like, you really get off on causing the death of 1 million people or whatever, and he goes, no, like, I get off on the death of 1 million people or whatever, like the thing was. I was like, oh my god, no, you aren't just doing it for like your own greed or whatever. Like, he was doing it so just to do it. Like, he just wanted to do it. Like that's what he
and he's also after the money. You know, like he's. I think it's another thing that our books that we read really emphasized with Lex Luthor. You know, he's like, I will kill off the Western Seaboard so that the land I own is now worth money. How about I go ahead and I control the water supply? You want water? Pay me for it. Fuck you. Pay me.
Dude's not gonna lie, like things that I would never have thought of for like controlling a population, but like. Taking the water supply, if you have enough money and the means to do so, what are people gonna do? Like, they're either gonna leave the city so that they could get water to live, or they will pay you. Like, there's, I don't know how you not get caught, but like, this dude is like, I'm not gonna lie, his schemes are kind of genius. Like, when I'm reading them,
that's why he is a genius. His IQ is 200. That's why it's so perfectly descriptive. But nah, man, there's a lot of great elements of this movie too. You know, I think I do love the opening on Krypton. I think and it is a setup for a later movie.
I figured. Okay, I was hoping that they would come back, General Zod and
yes, they
and
do. The Phantom Zone, just goes off into space. You know, it's not on Krypton whenever the shit gets rocked. And I love that Jor-El is like kind of just he's a scientist telling everybody that climate change is happening. Everyone needs to be ready. Okay, we need to take action. It's not. The planet's fine. Nothing's gonna happen to the planet.
Don't you go cause a panic, or else we'll have to count that as it's basically treason. So, all right, good day to you. This conversation's over.
Shit, man,
rough. Yeah, and this was
rough
back
as fuck
in the 70s, like where actual research on Earth started. That's like when scientists started talking to Earth people.
Yeah, right.
Climate change, and it's
Mario Puzo had his ear to the streets, bro. He did. He was like, I think drugs will be the end of this business.
Dude, maybe the true genius is Mario Puzo.
That man's got some writing to do.
He's a time traveler or something. Damn. But man, I
love Jor-El's his farewell to Clark or to Cal. Whenever him and
how beautiful, man, what a beautiful monologue that was. Holy, I'm I know this, but Clark's not understanding a single word of any of this. Or sorry, Cal there is not understanding a single word, but for his sake, as a goodbye, and him and his wife can just have a nice moment with Cal before they send him off, and die.
I loved it. And I think I've always pointed out, I'll draw this back to Star Wars a lot because this came out in 1978 and this movie feels very clearly influenced by Star Wars and its making and its music, also by John Williams. By the way, this is my favorite comic book movie score of all time.
Was John?
That was John.
I didn't know he did Superman. Oh, that makes it so much cooler. God, he's so iconic. That guy is so fucking good. Jesus.
So fucking good. But the way Krypton is clearly a miniature reminded me of the Death Star a lot, the way that the Death Star was shot back in 77. But with Marlon Brando's performance as Jor-El, he's kind of Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan Kenobi, kind of bringing a legitimacy to the mythos of what we're doing here. Jor-El makes you believe this shit straight off the bat because this is out there. This is going to a movie theater in 78 and being all these dudes in aluminum suits and all this shit going on. It needs something. And Marlon Brando being able to give you a powerhouse monologue straight off the bat, it helps. It helps a lot.
Yeah, I guess it does start off very out there, and then it's all right, now we're on Earth and farm and high
never
school.
That out there again.
Yeah, so it really was. Maybe that was the goal. Is hey, we'll have something that's so far out there at the very beginning. What's the word I'm looking for? Have the foundation of it be focused around Marlon Brando, so people are oh fuck yeah, I'm ready for whatever they're gonna throw me, and then it's no. You thought this was going to be on Krypton the whole time? Fuck it. We literally blew that shit up. It did
going to Smallville, Kansas, motherfucker.
Earth the whole time. And I guess that is, his origin. So it's
It is, yeah. Well, and what's interesting, too, is that the comic influences I gave us are backup comic book influences because the true, story influences are only available in comics that are not available on DC Universe Infinite. They are... Yeah, and I'm not sure why that is. I haven't looked into it at all, but they're just not there. So the same thing happened with Batman 66 last week. It will probably happen again for multiple movies over the course of our journey. But the fundamental Jor-El, all the imagery of Krypton and them sending him off and that sort of that is comic that is a comic book based thing. It's just that we didn't have access to those books.
I knew that it was I knew that the ones we had weren't, the true origin or the inspiration or whatever I guess the true.
They just didn't really like back in the golden age. They
But,
just didn't really concern themselves with origins very much. It was just kind of like
it's better to just hit the ground running. Like, just you have this hero. Here's little a mini origin to describe all of his powers that he has, and now I can just do any story I want. Like, which is I don't know,
for sure.
Very, I like that about comics. It's so different every time. You have no idea what you're gonna get, but it's like the same character that centers it all and grounds it. So I don't know. It's been like today. Whenever I was reading my comics, I was just sitting outside, like my laptop, just getting a tan, just chilling, tanning, reading some comics. I'm like, I don't know, and drinking tea. Like at the same time, I was chilling.
You're living good. You're living good.
Yeah, I was chilling, man. But
no, yeah, man. This movie is one of the more campy like. It's such a great combination of being campy as fuck and being very, very clearly comic book influenced and still maintaining a level of seriousness. Like it takes itself seriously. You know, it reminds me of, I feel like this has like a very clear influence on like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, where it's like those are campy. Those are in some regards stupid, and they can be really out there, but as long as it doesn't look at that and go, haha, yeah, it's funny that this is the way it is. You know, I think that's something like the MCU has a tough time battling with, you know, like, what's your name? Otto Octavius. No, for real, man, what's your name? You know, like, his name's Otto Octavius, roll with it. You know, fuck it, it's Dr. Octopus. Who cares?
Yeah. It's a dope-ass name.
This man is gonna turn time back by flying around the world twice, or several times.
You know, and while that was happening, I'm like, okay, well, that's not how time travel works. At the same time, I was like, this dude can literally fly and do whatever.
This is not how anything works.
He is from Krypton. I don't know what the fuck. A green rock can kill him. Does any of it have to make sense? No.
No.
And
no, it doesn't.
The thing that I kind of, I don't know if I'm just not putting it together right. Like, so we went back in time, and so just before the big aftershock started happening, and that, you know, Lois, so she was safe. But wouldn't, like, because how far did he go back? Was it I don't know. I feel like there was something else that he had to attend to that would have I don't know. I feel like it just happened like out of order or something like that. Or I don't know.
So, the way that I always take this, because it did confuse me. It confused me particularly this time as well, because I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because he turns back the clock to when Lois is like about to fall in. Like the crack hasn't even formed, which means that like Jimmy, when he runs up and is like, yo, you left me in the middle of the road, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. Because he wouldn't have been there yet, right?
Yeah, he should have been on the dam. He should have been hanging on the dam.
That's why, I was like, wait a minute. Like, if he went back to this time, then, like, he hasn't punched the rocks to fill in the new dam yet, I don't think. Or, I don't know. I felt like I was just missing something. I'm
assuming that, I think that, like, Jimmy running up and saying that is more like he went ahead, knew exactly where he needed to be, what he needed to do, just fucking did it. Like, he didn't have to think, he didn't have to do shit, just got there, did something, left. Got there, he's like, you left me in the middle of the fucking road, what the hell? You didn't say, like...
That's fair, yeah. I mean, dude was traveling faster than the speed of light, so, like, who's to say whenever he landed on Earth, he didn't just, you know, just do all that in an instant? Like, he's Superman. He literally turned back time, so, like, you know what? Fair. Dude, yeah, that scream, dude. Oh my god. I thought like cuz like in the new, I forget which, maybe it's Batman vs Superman or whichever one, where like his scream is heard through all around the world, and
it's Zack Snyder's Justice League, yeah.
It was just so like, I don't know. It didn't remind me necessarily of that cuz like it didn't have the waves or everyone didn't hear it. But I thought like whenever it happened, I'm like, oh shit, like is this like it felt like the scream was giving him the extra power that he needed in order to like fly that fast. Like, did he know he could even do that, or was he just so pissed that he's like, I'm just gonna fucking try. Like, I gotta try.
Well, yeah, he went up there. He went up into the clouds, saw his dad's face, and his dad was like, "Yo, you can't interfere with human history." And then he also hears himself going like, "All this power, and I couldn't even save him." And he's like, "You know what? No, I'm not gonna let that happen again. Fuck it, I'll interfere all I want, Dad." And then he just does it. Absolutely awesome, you know. And one thing we haven't really touched on yet is his time as a youngin in Smallville, when he's in high school and stuff at the very beginning. Some very clear influence from our comic books, you know, him racing against the train and stuff, running right past it.
That looked a little goofy.
It does, like, it does.
But oh man, it was like no, and then he jumps like the woo, like when he jumps like and barely beats it, you know, like I was like, oh, come on, it can't get more like I think he literally does that, like in one of the strips, like he like literally races and jumps over like at the last second, whatever, like. I don't know. It was just really. They were very, very honorable to the comics.
Here. Yeah, and they did a great job of getting this origin. Like the origin takes a while actually on screen. Like it's like 20 minutes that we're on Krypton, and then it's like 15 to 20 minutes that we're in Smallville, Kansas. It's a good 35 to 40 minutes of the movie that is his young days. And I do like the way that it still felt succinct, you know, like it doesn't feel like it takes forever. It's all very plain. Like he's not to the Daily Planet and as a grown up until over 30 minutes into the movie, you know, like that's pretty great, you know, and I love the way that
he leaves to go north 40 minutes in.
Man,
and he becomes the Daily Planet starts at 50 or at 48 minutes.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get there, but you don't even feel it. You know, like you're perfectly fine with the fact that you're experiencing just his whole life story, you know? I love the stuff with Lana Lang, where she's the only one who's nice to him at the high school and stuff, and then you know, him beating all of them home anyway because he's all super powered and everything. They're like, "Whoa, how the fuck did you get out of here?" He's like, "I ran." They're like, "Okay, fucking weirdo."
That's normal, I guess. We were in a car. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
All right.
Yeah, him like leaving his mom. You know, like he was just like standing out in the field, like looking out. He's like, "I gotta go." He's like, "We knew this day would come." You know, like was so like even though like I don't know, it did well. Like they're not in the movie whatsoever for the rest of it, which is like cool, I guess. But like you know, you get the little hey, send half my paycheck to this address. You know, go send it back.
Well, you're gonna send it back to your silver-haired. You're gonna send it back to your old white-haired mother. Well, actually, she's silver-haired. She's like, hey. Oh,
yeah,
bye.
Okay.
Yeah. I do love that shit, man, and that's where my favorite shot of the movie comes in. One of them, is him saying goodbye to his mom.
Is that the shot?
It's probably the one I'll land on. Yeah, I'll give some honorable mentions to others, but yeah, I think that would be my favorite shot of the movie is them embracing in the golden fields of grain. And the camera like coming up behind them and rolling all the way around them. It was just very, very.
Is it Martha?
Pretty. Yeah, Martha. Martha Kent.
I thought. I don't know why I was second guessing myself there, but.
Yeah, because him and Batman's mom have the same name.
Maybe that's why I was second guessing, because it felt too familiar from something else. But
Martha Kent and Martha Wayne.
I can't tell if my favorite scene, without a doubt, is if you can call their whole date sequence one scene, or if I have to settle in on just the flight alone, it's the flight. And whenever she is like, "Can you read my mind?" Probably
love that scene, dude.
Probably the line I would go with too, for the movie is, "Can you read my mind?" Yeah. That
God, she has the whole fucking poem.
Oh my God. Like, can he read minds?
No, he can't.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so.
But that's the thing; she wouldn't know. It's just the bounds of his power. Like you are, like she's like, here I am holding hands with a god.
Damn.
What are you capable of? You know, can you picture the things I'm thinking of? I was like, yo, Lois Lane wants it bad.
She literally said, like, do you know the things you do to me? She was
horny.
If he could read her mind, though, she was like, I'm ready. Like, I don't, if you're cool with it, like, yeah, I'll love you. Literally. I'm already in. She's like,
I'm there.
If you need someone to love you, got you. So I don't know. It would have been like maybe even cuter if Superman could read minds and like he did,
right? And he's just
hear
like,
it, but didn't just
didn't
let
do
that
anything
secret
about
out.
it.
Yeah,
I would love that. You know, I love the. If I had to choose, and you know, that's probably like I would go from fucking the moment he arrives on her balcony to the time they leave for Clark and her date. You know, like
is that counts as one scene?
Probably not. That's probably like three separate.
Okay,
I think that's
it's
like
my
three
favorite part of the movie.
Scenes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's also my favorite part of the movie because I'll give some love to the interview. I love the interview. Out on the balcony whenever she's like, "How big are you? How tall are you?"
Let's start with your vitals. Are you married? Do you have a girlfriend? The first questions.
And he was smooth with it too. The way he said, "Believe me, Lois, if I had a girlfriend, you'd be the first to know." And I was like,
Dude has confidence as Superman, and then
that's what's crazy is that he puts off a whole different vibe, and he's also like his makeup's a little different, so it's not just that he's it's not just that he does the body language. He's like tanner as Superman.
And his hair's
got the cowlick and everything.
Yeah. Is one of his like how did he change? One like for the revolving door, I can get by that one. He was just running so fast that he bam, there.
Yeah, but when he's like flying down and it just changes.
Yeah,
I can't justify that. I can't justify
I didn't know
that
if there was like some power he had where he can just bam,
No, I think that was for movie convenience. I think that they were like, okay, well, it'd be awkward as fuck to get him. But that's the thing is, it's not awkward as fuck. They show it a couple times. Like, I don't know why they chose to just do it like that. But frankly, I don't mind it. I think it adds a little bit of a charm to this movie.
Him looking at the phone booth and then being like, no, and then like walking to the revolving door, like get a little illusion. I don't know, like I guess that was. Did he change in phone booths in the comics we read?
Comics. Not in the comics we read.
It would have been the actual origin ones.
A few years prior to this, because we read the Golden Age stuff. We read late 30s, early 40s. I'm not sure when that started, but prior to this movie in 78, which is 35 years later, almost 40 years later, it evolved to be a bit more like he goes into a phone booth, comes out the other side, But I absolutely love that whole middle part of this movie, and the way that he jumps off the balcony, flies away, and then he's at the door as Clark. Just Lois,
we had a date tonight.
You've been doing a little bit of the, and he acts like he's like, have you been drinking? And that's what's so funny is he's also a little bit of a dick as Clark.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, I guess his plan was to reveal himself there, or was it? Or was he just practicing while she was in the room? And then, or do you think, because I thought it seemed that she could have heard.
I don't think it was a plan. I think he came to the door, saw just how taken she was like, oh, you are very obviously into Superman. She doesn't know that he's both of them, so he's just kind of like, I guess I could tell her like right now that that's me, and then I'd have everything I want, and then he's like, that's selfish of me, I can't do that, and then he just kind of
what a horrible date though. I know that we didn't see it, but there's no way that Clark actually enjoyed that date, because the whole time she would just be thinking of Superman the entire night. Like
that's Clark. Nice.
Yeah, oh man, yeah, that was great. Dude, the helicopter scene, that was like legitimately sick. I don't know. I was like watching it. I'm like, I guess it's because it was very dark and it was at night, but like it for 70, what year? 78? Like this was
good.
like, this was kind of like, yeah, I was kind of impressed by that. Like obviously whenever it's her feet like dangling down over like the street, you could tell like that it's 78, but like whenever he's like legitimately flying and pushing that, like lifting the helicopter up, like
it looks good.
I don't know. Yeah, I was surprised.
Well, that's what's so cool about a lot of this movie is that it does justice. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, there's some like the flying mechanics are a little goofy. You could tell he's on wires and stuff. That's cool. But other than that, it's all aged pretty fucking well. Like I love the part where he throws the fucking rod out over the out over Antarctica, and then it just North Pole, I guess, and it just melts into the ground, and the fucking Fortress of Solitude shoots up, and he like the shots of him walking up to the Fortress of Solitude right outside, like ooh, him flying. I love all the fact that is a physical set. When they are in the Fortress of Solitude, that's there. They didn't fucking green screen a bunch of the Fortress of Solitude.
Man, I don't know. It was very obviously some parts you could tell like, okay, it's not a literal computer generate, like they didn't have that, like the technology's not there, so I'm not expecting anything to be end game level, of or just like Superman just to levitate out of nowhere and fly like he would if he could truly fly. But like
right.
For what they had, this was done very well,
exceedingly well. Like
I mean, the story was like, I feel like there's a lot more to be done with Lois and Superman, and I hope like that's what the next movies come to, is like, does he like battle with like when does he tell? I don't even know if I want to know actually.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil movies for you if you haven't seen them, because
I don't think I want to know actually.
That's one of my favorite parts of this movie, is that she does not figure it out by the end of this movie. Like she almost does. She's like, why is Clark never around with Nah, that's fucking dumb. Clark's a pussy. Like that shit was so funny.
I kind of got the impression that like she was like, okay, no, that's dumb, and then what was Mike or
Jimmy.
Sorry, Jimmy. Jimmy was like, what are you thinking about right now? And she's like, don't worry about it. Like, I think she was actually like, she believed in it though. It seemed like at the end of it, even though she said like, no, that's stupid. Clark's a pussy. Like, I think like she kind of came back. It's
a little bit of a lingering thought, kind of like, maybe don't dismiss that so quick. I can see that.
I don't want to know. I don't know, but I think them two, they were. I guess it's because of their date and the interview and all that. Like, I just want more of that. Is like,
oh yeah, they're
really
my favorite. And frankly, any Superman story, if you want it to be good, that's what the heart of it is. It is his relationship with Lois later on when he doesn't have kids in canon for years down the road, like he didn't have John Kent until forever down the line. But his relationship to his family and stuff, his relationship to Jonathan and Martha, like that's some real ass shit. I love, that's the stuff that grounds him in being a relatable superhero. Is like that's a lot of people's problem, is that like, how am I supposed to relate to this dude who is completely invulnerable? That's the thing. He's not invulnerable. And this movie makes that crystal fucking clear. Like, I don't know. I don't know that we've gotten a more passionate moment of anger from any fucking superhero ever than when Lois dies in this movie.
Yeah, he was not having it. Nah. He said,
I will turn back time.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? I deserve something for me. Like I gotta do something for me too. After saving California, I can love someone, you know?
How about the fucking brass balls on this movie to be like, you know what? We're gonna bury Lois Lane alive.
Dude, New Fear. Like that was like insane to watch. Like for the first time, I'm like, oh my god, like
It's
is this really happening?
inducing. Yeah.
Because like it looked legitimate. Like I don't know how you fake that. Like I don't like. I mean, obviously they had something to where it couldn't cover her all and actually bury her alive, you know. But like, oh my god, that was intense.
It
Like
was intense. And Margot Kidder can act afraid very well.
her
Like
screaming in the
whenever,
helicopter.
yeah,
Like
that was
dangling
what
her
and that
screams.
like
Yeah, like
she can dig into the bag and convince me that she is in mortal danger. Because I'm concerned for Lois at multiple points in this movie, and I do love him saving the fault line, like going to the crust of the earth and pushing it up back into place, and seeing the reversed footage of it just popping back up. So funny.
I mean, I don't care. At that point, I'm like, damn, he really lifted the earth. Like legitimately,
He lifted
dude
the crust of the earth, bro.
lifted the earth. Dude, like at first, he turned himself into a drill to get into Luther's like base and
Yeah.
or I don't know, maybe that wasn't his base, maybe that was somewhere else. No, I think it was.
I think it's his base of operations.
Yeah, but then he still crushed through the door. So I guess he just whatever. You know, when he turned himself into a drill, I'm like, damn, he legitimately turned himself into a drill. I'm like, how? What the fuck? And then he just goes down to like the center, not the center of the earth, but like the below the crust. And I'm like, oh my god, this dude. Like, I don't think of that. I don't know why. Like, I don't think of that as an option.
Right.
Just
right.
even though he's invincible and he has all these powers, I'm never thinking of like him just going under the earth to lift it. I was like, how is he gonna fix this? Like that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I know he goes back in time. I'm like, is that the solution? Like, does he just go back in time and not have the missiles launched in the first place or something like that?
Right.
And no, he just lifts the earth, and that's dope as fuck. To happen in a movie.
It really is. Like, and that's the thing is that like this movie is ceaselessly fun, and it takes itself like I love that it is the most outrageous stuff is the end. You know, like it doesn't get like wow until the end where you're like, oh wow, yeah, this is getting wild. Reversing time, pushing the crust of the earth up, like it starts to get a little crazy there. But up until then,
like,
it's a very self-serious movie.
The missile theft or like the missile like little input thing, like it's not that far out there. I mean, like I don't think it's as simple as 4 numbers, to control where a missile goes. But like, I mean, it wasn't like for a movie. It was like okay, like yeah for they're infiltrating a missile and like they're changing the coordinates, whatever. Like yeah, I guess that
absolutely. I love that shit and the way they distract. Like there was a lot. Like that's the one thing this movie doesn't have going for it is the amount of sexualization of
yeah.
Like there's some moments
rough there.
Yeah, whenever
Superman like whenever he's in the pool like with the kryptonite around him and then like Miss what
Tessmacher. Yeah.
Miss Tessmacher gives him a little smooch. Like, why'd you kiss me first? It's like, oh, okay, well, sure, well, maybe like that's why you don't kiss him first,
Maybe that's why you don't kiss him first.
But
I mean, and then whenever she's laying on the ground after the coordinated wreck, and he's like, "All right, chest compressions and mouth to mouth," and I wouldn't have you do anything I wouldn't do myself. And then he's like, "Attention!" and they all turn away, and it's like, "Oh no, oh god." Yeah,
coming up as the ambulance though. Is anybody hurt, dude? Was smart. That was
a well coordinated plan.
Yeah, man. And then the whipped up second plan, like out of nowhere, dude's got it all. I'm not gonna lie, he got the brains.
He do got the brain though.
Pushed Superman into a pool and actually almost killed him.
Yeah,
that's
for
nuts.
Real. He would have killed him had he not sent that missile to fucking Hackensack, New Jersey.
Could have chosen any other, like New York City. Like, hey, Superman, it's either gonna hit New York, you're gonna let New York die, or all of California and give me my plan.
Hackensack, New Jersey.
Gonna hit. Yeah, I mean, let's see what the population of. Is that even a real city?
Yeah, Hackensack's a real place.
Hackensack, New Jersey population. Oh,
that's so funny.
Wow, but yeah, what a city to pick. 44,000, and that's in 2020.
Yeah, that's like the size of the city I live in. Actually, smaller even.
Let's see. In 1978, maybe the rare. Yeah, well, that's a really weird question to ask Google. The population of Hackensack, New Jersey, in 1978. 117. There's no. Oh, that's the fire department in Hackensack in 1978.
Hackensack.
Okay. Sorry.
Now, one of the things I loved about this movie was that we get a shot when the Hoover Dam is like cracking open, and I was looking at it and I was like, man, it's crazy that this is where the Valley Beyond is stored in like 40 years.
Oh my god, dude! I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, wow, it really all comes down to the Hoover Dam, huh? Like, it's all. Westworld is on a different level. It's like. It's too real. I don't know. Maybe like we should investigate the Hoover Dam. Transformers. That's where the Allspark was stored. The Hoover Dam.
Jesus Christ.
Somebody
needs to check on what's going on at the Hoover Dam.
I'm gonna go take a tour, and I'm gonna leave when I see one of those secret doors that's or like authorized personnel only.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find some AI or Transformers or. Nothing at all in Superman. It's just the regular Hoover Dam, I guess, in Superman. But
you never know.
Man,
you never know. You never know. But yeah, man, I do love this movie. I do love I love Superman's costume. It's one thing we'll probably key in on a little bit as this project goes on. The best costumes of our 52-year journey through film or 52-year this comic book journey through film. Old habits. But and something we're going to do a lot is the compare and contrast sort of thing, like I feel much more comfortable comparing comic book movies to comic book movies than I did like in our other project going like, all right, well let's line Interstellar and fucking Godfather up next to each other. Now, how do we feel about these? The comparisons don't make sense there. Comparisons always make sense here, regardless of hero. They're comic book movies, So our only two on the table right now are Batman 66 and Superman 78. So that's where the comparisons will mostly come from. But if we're going costume design, I think I got to give the edge to Superman here.
Yeah.
That Superman costume is pimp as fuck. Not to say I don't like Adam West's Batman. I do like Adam West's Batman, but it's not.
That's not a Batman suit. That's not a billionaire's. So, I mean, I don't know.
I love the mask, 66. And I love the influence it has. You hold that up next to like Robert Pattinson's Batman mask, and like the little markings over the nose. It matches the stitching. The eyebrows have stitches there. Very, very cool stuff. So like it has a great influence, but it's not a great suit in and of itself. This Superman suit might be the best Superman suit we've gotten ever in live action comic book movies, I think. Super fucking strong.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty classic right there.
The red trunks and the yellow belt and the cape and it's gorgeous.
I don't know. The new one looks the new one looks good just because it's visual. Like we just have the ability to make things look better. Like, I mean, I don't know. When I think of Superman in my head, I still think Henry Cavill as of now. Maybe by the end of Christopher Reeve's these 4 movies, I think that might change, because I think I already like Christopher Reeve as Batman better already than like
Superman.
Superman. Sorry. But yeah, I think I already like him more, but like he's not what I see immediately when I think of the character. When I think of Batman, like it's like kind of 50-50 Robert Pattinson and Christian Bale. Christian Bale just because it's childhood, and Robert Pattinson is like he's taking over Christian Bale. Superman, it's still Henry Cavill right now, but I'm predicting that it's gonna be Christopher Reeve.
It's funny. I'm in like, because I'm excited to get to Man of Steel on our ride here, because I haven't watched it in like 10 years. I'm in the flip side of the boat as you are, where I've watched the Christopher Reeve movies multiple times, and I've watched Henry Cavill in each of his movies once, I think.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so
That'll
we got the flip side thing going on. So that's very fun. But yeah, I love Christopher Reeve as Superman. I mean, comparing and contrasting these movies, Lairs, got the Fortress of Solitude and the Batcave. Again, gonna have to give the edge to the Fortress of Solitude here in Super. Odds are this'll win out against Batman and pretty much everything. The Villain Lair, much cooler on Lex Luthor's side of the.
Lex's lair was sick. Like,
so cool.
The pool, the like projectors that he had up of the beach, so he could like actually think like that they're at the beach. The bookcase that was basically like his computer, where he just got all of his information from or whatever. Like,
Fucking
was really
awesome.
cool. Yeah, I don't know. What could Batman beat? What could it win? What does it beat Superman on?
Maybe transportation.
The Batmobile, definitely.
Batmobile?
I mean, or his literal body. He flies, That's kind of.
Yeah, I know, but
and the Batcopter. We did have the Batcopter too.
I mean, the advantages Batman has over Superman is simply that, and any other thing. He's got the gadgets, He's got the tools. You don't got a super ladder. Nah, you got a bat ladder.
That's true. But Superman doesn't have any whale repellent spray, shark repellent spray. He doesn't have all of those at the ready. I don't know. Batman, he's got everything for any situation. Too bad that he has 2 chemicals in each of his heels that create an explosion when combined. Very handy to have.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, like, romance, I'd take Clark and Lois over Ninka and Bruce any day. I think it was Ninka.
Yeah.
Catwoman's persona.
I think I caught that your favorite performance was Christopher Reeve. Your shot was the hug of Clark and Martha, and then the scene, we're both agreeing there. Did you, for your character, did you decide on one yet? Because I went with Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. If I had to pick a character for this movie, because like he was actually funny, and like he played, I don't know, it was just a really fun Lex Luthor. I really loved. Like, every time he was on screen, I'm like, okay, like I was wanting him to be on screen more, basically. And if I'm not picking Superman for the character, I'm picking Lex.
That's the thing, I gave him the love on performance, so I think I will go a different way. And the way I will go is Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. I love Lois Lane in this movie. Margot Kidder, again, my defining Lois Lane. Like, this is whenever I think of Lois Lane, this is the version of the character I see in my head. I absolutely love her in this movie. Whenever he's like, I fight for truth, justice, and the American way, and she's like, well, fuck, you'll end up fighting half the or all the elected officials in this country then. I dig that. That's kind of that's a and she's a fantastic journalist. The way she has this tenacity about her and everything, this critical spirit and stuff that can be let down. Like, that's what's so great about Superman and Lois being together, is that they both bring each other an element of something they didn't already have. Like, Lois is really critical and cynical and kind of unbelieving, and then this man who can do anything shows her that there's hope, there's a bright side, there's good in anything if you choose to see it that way, and vice versa. You know, I think Clark gets from Lois a degree of just like what Earth is like. You know, he has a very fond view of it, coming from a very small town and everything, and he hasn't faced a ton of evil, a ton of bad shit, and Lois can be there to be like, hey man, shit ain't all sunshine and rainbows. We got real shit going on out here. So I think that's a great dichotomy, and I love Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. So I think I'd choose her as my favorite character from this movie.
And did you have a line of the movie you would say?
Let's see.
I mean, I feel like I'm kind of cheating by just going, my line is, can you read my mind? My scene is the date and flight, and then my shot is like whenever he's holding her barely by the hand and they're like both like up in the sky and like flying, you know, together. Like, that's my favorite shot. I don't know. I can't think of another shot. I was trying to.
My other favorite shot, one that I was going to throw out there for you, was whenever he accidentally drops her and then catches her.
Oh, that might be
and then
better.
they wrap the way they wrap the camera around them up in the stars and stuff. Like, I love that shot. That was the other one.
I guess whenever I was thinking of a shot, I was thinking of like freeze frame, but really it's like, it's just the one camera movement. Well, it could be a still camera, or it could be like a movie camera. I didn't think of like, I don't know. I was in the mindset of it has to be just taking one frame out of the entire movie, and what would that be? But like, it's totally fair for it to be the one shot that went like of the camera that they filmed. Like, it's not just a picture. Like, that's not what we're saying. It's the, I don't know how to.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's all things considered. It's not just the picture. It's the camera movement. It's everything. It's everything that goes with it. Because oftentimes shots are set up for movement, and I think that's what happens in this movie on multiple occasions. You know, like whenever I talked about the shot in the field earlier, it's because the way the camera comes up behind them, and it's similar camera movement to this shot that we're talking about now. It's just in a completely different setting. Which is absolutely awesome. But yeah, I love both those shots. If I've got to go with a line, though, if I've got to go with a favorite line, there's a few great ones from this movie, and I almost want to go with the Jor-El quote, because I really like.
Beautiful.
Lex has a really good quote. Some people can read War and Peace and come away thinking it's a simple adventure story. Others can read the ingredients on a chewing gum wrapper and unlock the secrets of the universe. That's a good one. I don't know if it's my favorite, but that's a great one.
I don't know, but Marlon Brando definitely had a lot in there. Was like, damn, he's like, Lois had a poem. Like, she was like, that was a poem that she was like reading, or I guess just in her head. The moment was so beautiful. She was so in love that she was thinking in poems. But like Jor-El, that was just like, I feel like that's just how he was just speaking that way. Dude just was like that, you know?
He was just like that.
I don't know. I felt like I was being serenaded, like almost a little bit there by Jor-El. Like, I'm like, damn, he's not even talking to me, but I feel like I shouldn't be experiencing this right now. This is like too beautiful for someone to say. Like, you will live on my life. You will see through my eyes as I will see. I don't know, like all the analogies and metaphors that he made were just like, oh my damn, dude. Like,
I will say, probably not my favorite line, but my single favorite line delivery comes from General Zod. You will bow down before me, Jor-El. I swear it. You will bow down before me, both you and one day your heirs. That shit fucking gets me every time. I'm always like, that is so fucking funny for no reason. Because it's not funny. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's hilarious.
Your ass. He knew, like, did they knew they were going to be banished to the Phantom Realm or whatever? Like,
I'm assuming they knew that was a possibility.
Okay,
because I'm pretty sure it's not like a secret. I think it's like this is their Justice Department.
It seemed that, like, it was kind of his last line. Like, he knew this was the last thing he was going to be able to say, like, to Jor-El. Like, he's like, I know I'm either dying or going to, I don't know, like, what's going to happen. So I'm just going to give out my last little hurrah. And yeah, the heirs, like, I don't know why that, like, the single word of, like, that delivery, like, whenever that last little bit was the little, it was.
And the camera cuts from, like, his mouth to his eyes to Jor-El's eyes and stuff. Like, it was a really, really well done sequence there. But, I think I am going to go with a Jor-El quote.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go with all that I have, all that I've learned, everything I feel, all this and more, I bequeath you, my son. You will carry me inside you all the days of your life. I love that shit. Because he will. He does carry that spirit Jor-El had.
All that I have, all that I've learned, everything I feel, all of this and more, I bequeath you, my son.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is? I bequeath you, my son. And then what's after that? I was keeping up for a little bit.
I get you.
I bequeath you, my son.
You will carry me inside you all the days of your life.
Damn. Jor-El with the
heaters.
Jor, yeah. I was like,
Jor-El.
I was like,
it was Marlon fucking Brando, man. You know, like, how am I not gonna fucking love Marlon Brando?
I mean, it's sort of impossible to not. Yeah, I mean, it was just really cool having him for the beginning of the movie. Like, even though that's it, and he blew up and he died, I'm like, man, I don't know. I got Marlon Brando in a Superman movie. Like, I guess that's the point of why they had him in here. Make it legitimate, make it good. But all right, there we go. Yeah, I don't know. I feel 3 of my line, scene, and shot are all kind of from the same thing.
I mean, that is undoubtedly the best part of the movie. So, and here's the thing: I knew it would be the premiere part of this movie that shines because it is so easily my favorite part of the movie. So I was throwing love other places. It's perfectly fair. Because if I'm being 100% honest with myself, it's almost certainly everything from that scene. I love the "Can you read my mind" scene. Every time we've ever discussed on this podcast anything relating to this movie, I have brought it up. So yes. Like it's a great scene.
Finally seen it come into like fruition and watching it and like the full context with it was like, oh, dude.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I legitimately cried. Like I was crying like during that. Like
it brings a tear to your eye, man.
Yeah,
it's so
I'm like, oh
beautiful.
my god, like damn. And I'm like, I'm also like, it's beautiful, like just just them as characters. But then I'm like imagining like, dang, what it would feel like to actually fly. Like for like to be like, physics doesn't really work. Like her wrist or pinky would just break. Like I don't know, like I guess he's Superman. He could just fucking.
He's evenly distributing all the pressure onto her body. Yeah,
but like I feel like if you could like that would be being like lifted to fly without actually having the ability to fly. I feel like would be better than just being able to fly no matter what. Because if you could fly all the time, it'll seem like nothing eventually. It's just your way of getting around. Like, but if you were brought to fly, it would make it magical like every time. And I was just like thinking that like during the whole time, I'm like, oh my God, like what an experience it would be to, I don't know, like it would be scary at first, which they showed, and she's like, I can't look, and then Superman's like, takes her hand off her
I
face, and it's
also
like, all right.
loved that as soon as she was like, okay, yeah, I'm done, he was like, oh, yeah, all right, let's go. And he just like, and the shot of them like dipping back through the clouds. Oh, I love that. I love
like,
that.
Oh, should I grab a jacket or whatever? He's like, you'll be warm
enough.
Dude, it's slick with it, man. He was, I don't know, he's slick as Superman.
He was like, I know you hot as fuck for me, so we chilling for real. But yeah, shit, man. Do you have anything else you want to key in on before we do a rating here?
I think I'm ready for the rating. Yeah.
All right. Let me break it down for the folks listening. We've got 5 separate ratings, one of which is determined by the scores of the other 4. Our first rating is enjoyment. Out of 10, just how much did the movie resonate with in any capacity? It's entirely subjective. Just how you feel about it. Doesn't fucking matter how critically good it was, unless, of course, that matters in ultimately determining how much you like it, which I think it's impossible to completely separate, but, regardless, very enjoyable movie, and enjoyment rating I'm sure will reflect it. Genre, all of these are superhero movies, so it becomes more a subsection sort of thing. And for the genre here, it's probably just like an action drama.
Action adventure sci-fi is what IMDb calls
adventure sci-fi. I could see that. And it's damn good sci-fi too. It's damn good adventure, it's damn good action, so it'll probably fare well there. Out of 10, we got adaptation. This one was here so that we could evaluate things fairly in a way that we could look at it for the film section, our critical section, and go, yes, it was still very good, but it might be a bad adaptation. Or otherwise, yes, it's a damn good adaptation, but it's not a very good movie. Those are both they're mutually exclusive. They're not the same thing. They don't have to be the same thing. So I think adaptation, it's an important rating, and it'll fare well here. And then critical, that's acting, writing, all things objective about the film to kind of counter our enjoyment rating. We take the average of those 4 scores, and it becomes our overall rating for the movie. Shall we begin?
I think we shall. Now, enjoyment. Batman was a 5, middle of the road. This is definitely not middle of the road here. Mm-hmm. This was, as a first watch, man, like I can't wait to watch this movie again. And I think I'll do it after I complete all of them. Like after I go through, is the 4th the last one?
Yes, there are only 4 of this Christopher Reeve saga.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll watch through all of them once first, and then I'll go back and enjoy it as I, whenever I will. But I think like 8. Maybe like 7. I feel like 7 is the absolute floor. If it's an 8 or 9, I don't think it's a 10. Well, gotcha. Maybe it is a 10. I don't know.
You remember how we approached The Shining rating when we were there so long ago, and how you were like, I'm going to kind of back off for a second so as to not influence any choice you have. That's where I'm at, because
is this a 10 for you?
For me personally, yeah, this is one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. For me, you said the floor was 7. The floor for me is an 8.5. I will not take lower than that.
That's fair. No, and I
mean, you could pose it. I will argue to make it higher.
Like what in my mind, I'm thinking like that it was just long, but like it didn't feel long whatsoever. Like it was not. The only reason I feel like it was long is because I watched an hour of it before I went to sleep one night, and then I just continued it and finished it in the morning. Right. So like that's why it felt, I guess, a little longer. But like now that I think about it, like if I just stitch those two together, like the first while before the Daily Planet was 50 minutes, and like holy shit, it did not feel like 50 minutes whatsoever.
No.
And like you have just so many different aspects of the movie, and like it was so like reading the comics beforehand definitely enhanced it. Like I'm glad I got a few in comics before I watched the movie. It's kind of interesting to have some before and some after, because then you can see like you're looking for things while you watch the movie from the ones you did read, but then after it's like you can see certain influences or something.
For sure.
But I don't know. I think 8.5 is fair for a floor. I just didn't know if I was going too high. Because I'm trying to think of like other movies on this project where I would be like, all right, that's a 10 enjoyment for sure. And I already know. I feel like the new Batman, like with Robert Pattinson, that's like, I will never get old of that movie. That is like a 10 in my mind. The
Infinity War,
Miles Morales, Spider-Man. What is
Spider-Verse.
okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't know why I was blanking on the title, but like those are movies that I'm feeling like are a 10, and like just because this one's old, like I'm naming all new movies, and like that doesn't mean anything. And I said at the very beginning of this that this is in my top 10, already.
Well, and here's the thing though, is that like I'm with you, I am with you to a degree. Here's my thing. The question comes down to, because we have the same, it sounds like we have the same 10 enjoyment tier. My question for you is, does this breach that tier? And it just honestly, no or yes? Does it just, it's just not quite that for you?
No, I think, like me personally, what I enjoy more, are the more, like Batman is very serious in tone and very it's not really joking a whole lot. And I think that's just what I prefer more. I feel something that is very grounded and something is what I'd rather watch. But if I'm in the mood for this movie, I feel like this is a movie you could throw on whenever, is the thing. Like I can't throw on the Batman whenever. That's a 3-hour investment that you have to be like mentally ready for. It is awesome as hell, but like you gotta be ready for that. But this is just like,
this is one of my favorite casual viewings of any superhero movie ever. And I've said, it is a comfort movie of mine, and I've watched it for years. So I'm kind of like for me, I'd be comfortable throwing a 9 at it if you want. I would personally label it a 10. But if you feel more comfortable with 9, I'm cool with that. If you're not, maybe we split the difference.
I'm gonna go 9.5, just because I feel like there is just this little minute hesitation to not give it a 10 for some reason. And gotcha. maybe on rewatch it, I'll notice little things about the movie that I like a little more or something like that. But like it is either a 9.5 or 10. Like it is on the same level. If not, it's barely below.
Gotcha. I'm with you on that. So 9.5 is what we'll come to a conclusion there, and that is a 9 out of 9.5. It's not nothing to fucking scoff at. So with that, onto the genre: superhero action adventure. This is an all-timer for me, man.
The antagonist was like, the conflict was super cool. It's like, all right, California's gonna fall off. I'm gonna make trillions off of this. It's like cool. Like, okay, this is real. Like, this is cool. And you got the superhero bits of him saving, but like the action, I don't know. Like, I guess there's not really any huge fight scenes. It's not like you have the Justice League going in and fighting freaking an army, of just demon monsters. But it's like, I'd say that this is like different action. Like it's not action that it's like super fast paced or whatever, but it's like you have this woman who's about to fall out of a helicopter, and Superman comes in, swoops her, and then lifts up, a helicopter to back up. It's like
he lifts the crust of the earth back up. He reverses the rotation of Earth. The adventure stuff. I'm going north, Ma. I'm going north. I'm gonna throw this rod in the middle of the fucking snow, and I'm gonna build my fortress of solitude. The beginning on Krypton, some epic stuff. You know, the way they send him away in that snowflake spaceship. Super fucking cool. I mean, having to stop nukes, send nukes into space, very cool. Not the last time we'll see that in our 52-year or in our fucking comic book movie journey through film.
It's over the span of 52 years. It's more than 52 years, so it's basically a 52-year journey through film as well. Just a little more, but
what 66 to 2024? Yeah, it'll be 58.
Yeah, wow, that's insane. That is there another superhero movie before Batman? Like anything resembling a superhero movie?
Yeah, but they're not. That was the first thing of any relative quality.
Okay. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like drama should be thrown in here.
I think so too.
The drama is good at it's kind of, I don't know. That's a big part of the movie.
Ramps up the stakes at multiple points. Homie loses his dad, which hurts like hell. You know, when John collapses and when Jonathan Kent collapses in the farm, and he's like, all this power and I couldn't save him. You know, his job at the Daily Planet. I fucking love Perry White. I love that character, the editor.
All these abilities, why can't I use them? It's just what I can do. Is that showing off? You know?
Yeah.
I can score a touchdown every time, Dad. Every time. And then he punts. The punt, dude, launched it into orbit. That football is not coming back. It's gone. But no, I mean, I
can't remember. I can't remember what he says about scoring a touchdown every time. But you can tell the dude who said it has never played a sport.
No, he says I can do a touchdown. I think is what he says. He says I can do a touchdown. I can do one every time. Is what he said. I think is the action. I don't know if I am remembering that right. It was something that was very unaware.
Oh.
Yeah, it was very unaware.
It's so funny. No, but
do a touchdown. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, he's about to have his heart attack. So here we go. Wow, but
God, I love this.
He got home.
I just want to tear them apart.
Yeah, what's this guy's name? Is
the kid?
You know this? Yeah.
Yeah, different actor.
He did well.
He did good as a young.
For his
I can
part
make
that
a
he
touchdown. I can make a touchdown.
Wow, that's insane. I can make a touchdown.
I can make a touchdown every time. Nah, but that was the kid Clark was Jeff East out of St. Louis. So
there you go.
Little Missouri boy.
Yeah. I mean, every time I get the football, I can make a touchdown. Every time.
I can make a touchdown.
It makes sense it makes sense that he is now the water boy or the equipment manager. You know, it makes sense now.
I can make a touchdown every time. Yeah, no, that shit was so funny. But yeah, man, genre wise, where you landing for this?
It's pretty high too. This, I mean, what did it fail at? I don't know. The action was good. The adventure was great. And I mean, I'm throwing in drama. I feel like it's only fair to.
Well, and the sci-fi.
Yeah, and I guess, yeah, I don't know. What did it really do wrong for a movie that's coming out this time for the I mean, I
don't think it did. For me, this is a superhero movie defining film. You know, yeah. I think if you're gonna do any superhero movie, watch. You ought to involve Superman. You have to. In fact, that's required viewing if you're doing superhero. You know, I gotta think so.
Is this just a 10?
I think it might be.
I don't. I'm trying to find a thing that they're lacking in this movie. And as for the genre, it was I feel like when this movie came out, like Batman, it was fun. Like it was, it was fun, and people probably left the theater being like, okay, I don't really enjoy superheroes all that much, but that movie was pretty good. I feel like people came out of this one like, okay, I'm thinking of superhero movies a little differently now.
Yeah, maybe I should head to my local comic shop and pick up a fucking book. Like that's it's kind of the vibe this movie gets me to. And I think it's a damn good adaptation as well.
Yeah, it literally opens with Action Comics #1. Clear, like very clear influence of many things. Like the Lex Luthor storyline is pretty much the same thing, but just brought up to a little more grand of a scale.
Lois Lane maintaining the exact same spirit, like she feels the same. Clark feels the same.
All his quips are the same. His
shit,
man,
Ma and Pa Kent, like
him being an absolute pussy as Clark. Whenever someone comes up and
the
Rob's
fucking
like, because he has
everybody,
to be.
Hey, yeah. Come into the alley.
You know what? I've turned a new leaf. I'm actually gonna do what you say. And, or whatever. Like, Clark's like, why do you have a gun? That could hurt people. You're never going to solve any problem with a gun and hurting people. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Yeah. I think I'm going to start with taking her purse. Or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This was... I feel like if there's no... This should be the standard moving forward for how well a movie can adapt its comics to it.
I agree.
The
way that this is genre-defining superhero film, this is, again, genre-defining adaptation. If it's a superhero movie, it should try to do as well as Superman did as far as adaptation is concerned. Because it's fucking amazing, it really does maintain that spirit so well.
That today's money?
Shit, man, I don't know.
It $55 million. It made $300 million in the box office back then. That's nuts. 300 million. Yeah. Wow, that's I'm gonna have to leave here soon to go pick her up.
Gotcha.
I'm just gonna answer it and be like, okay, continue. Just
gotcha. But so I do think it's genre-defining adaptation. I do think it's genre-defining in general. And critically, I think it's also going to do pretty damn good, if I had to say so myself. This might be the place where it falls a little bit.
It's the only area this movie can fall, I feel. I don't know.
And it won't be far.
No. Yeah, like the performances.
Great. I love the performances in this movie.
The story was really good.
I mean, even the performances of, like, Otis and Miss Smocker, like, they were supposed to be caricature-y and comic booky, and they brought that to life perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the fucking score, like I said, this is my favorite comic book movie score of all time, right alongside Michael Giacchino's The Batman.
Man, nothing like that theme. It just makes you feel great. Like, it's like, what a pet, like, and iconic, too. How does he do it, man? How does he just do it over and over?
Dude, the Superman theme is like, this might be my favorite John Williams score, period. Like, it's fucking legit, man. It's a really fucking good one. I find myself listening to it a lot, but performances, outstanding. Christopher Reeve and Gene Hackman absolutely steal the fucking show. They were a perfect duo to build this franchise on.
Well, Batman was given a 3.
Really well. What's that?
Batman was given a 3. I feel like it did do better than that.
Yeah. I start going more in the 8 range for this.
Okay. I was going to say 7 or 8. And I feel, like, I have to, like, this is 78. This is 1978. Like, I want to put myself
visual effects are relevant to time, period.
Yeah.
You know?
And in this movie, like, I feel if I went in the theater and watched this, I would come out like, holy shit!
You'd believe a man can fly.
Yeah. So
like that was kind of that was the tagline for when the like trailer start was "You'll believe a man can fly."
That's awesome. That's actually sick. But yeah, I mean, if we give it an 8, that rounds it out to a 9.38 for the total there, which a 94% basically.
Yeah, a 94% on the old tomato meter. Let's see what Rotten Tomatoes has for it there.
Rotten Tomatoes. I'm gonna guess. What would you guess? It's 84. Oh wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. The audience was 86, but the official reviews is a 95. So,
1% higher than we had it.
Wow. And I think for Batman, well, I think maybe the audience loved the Batman way more than we did. I think it's probably just nostalgia rating for that audience score and stuff.
Yeah, and then IMDb has it as a 7.4 out of 10. So we're nicer than IMDb. A percentage point less nice than Rotten Tomatoes. So
wow.
I feel really good about that coming out to a 4% when Rotten Tomatoes critics meter had at 95. Like,
dang, I did not expect that for the critical rating. But I mean, this is a very defining superhero movie. Like this feels like the first real superhero movie here. Like,
and it is. Yeah. You know, the only reason it wasn't the starting point for the project is because Batman 66 has had such great influence over later Batman things.
Yeah, had to. We could not.
You couldn't not. Yeah.
Yeah. We had to. But this is where superhero movies got real right here. Like this is, I don't know, where I feel like the general public were like it started to get excited for superhero movies.
Certainly.
But yeah, man, a 94%.
94%, 9.4 out of 10. Ain't too shabby. Ain't too shabby at all. But I think with that we conclude this week's installment into the Journey Through Film comic book film edition. And we head into next week with another Superman movie. Superman 2. It'll be perfect. We'll continue the Christopher Reeve, and the week after that we'll do Superman 3. And so yeah, we got the trilogy right in a row here before the fourth movie is tacked on at the end. So very, very excited about that. If you would, go ahead.
A good run that I'm excited for this run that we're about to be on. So
yeah, I mean, then we hit Supergirl, Howard the Duck. We got
even
how about
better.
Howard the Duck being our first Marvel movie?
I've never even heard of Howard the Duck before this project. Like I didn't even know he existed.
He's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my god, he is! I just thought he was just some random.
Once you go duck.
Oh my god! And he's in the freaking. Is that him in the What If episode?
Yeah, he's in What If. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Okay, wow, I didn't even realize that was him. I just thought it was some random duck. That Guardians was just like, fuck it, it's space. Fuck it, duck. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Howard the Duck, baby. But yeah, that'll be a few weeks down the road. Next week, we got Superman 2. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you find over 50 hours of exclusive content. That's comic book pull lists every week, book reviews all the time. Any movies that I'm seeing and we're not covering on the pod, we'll go ahead and put it up here. Probably covering a TV show right now alongside this project. Potentially The Bad Batch, I think, is supposed to be going on right now. So go ahead and check that out. Head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening today. It would be greatly appreciated. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you oh so very much, my friend.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way.